Hey, if you're checking out this video, then that tells me that you're working on something greater than yourself, and I commend you. Now, whether you're new to being a family man and you just want to get off on the right foot, or you've been a family man and you just want to be better, I'm going to share with you 4 tips that will produce the positive results that you're looking for. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up, YouTube? I'm Michael A. with Michael A. Benton Coaching, empowering family men to live a life of fulfillment. And on this channel, I help family men regain their identity and become more fulfilled in every aspect of their lives. I also cover coaching strategies to push you through the challenges that you will face. So if you're new to the channel, I hit that subscribe button. So what is a family man? A family man to me, in the most simplest terms, means putting your family above yourself. You know, there's going to be times where you're going to have to sacrifice your needs for theirs. Not all the time. And I'll be sure to do another video on how you can meet your needs and your family's needs. But that's a different topic. But there's going to be instances where you're going to have to stay home when you don't want to. You're going to have to miss out on that boy's trip to Vegas. You're going to have to miss out with going to the bars with your homie. But that's just part of the game. That's just part of being a family man. You know, it's making sure that you are providing everything that your family needs. A roof over their head, food on the table, clothes on their back. Those are just the sacrifices that you make. That's your responsibility. And as a man, as a family man, you're obligated. So before I get into the first tip, be sure to stay until the remaining of the video, as I'm going to give you guys a bonus tip. And this bonus tip is going to incorporate everything that we talked about. All right, let's get started. So the first tip to becoming a better family man is to improve upon yourself. You know, have you ever noticed that in your household, when you're at your happiest, when you're at your calmest, when you are energetic and lively and playful, how happy your environment is within your household? I'm sure your wife is probably giving you more affection when you are happy and joyful and playing with the kids. You know, the kids are happy, they're running around. Things just seem more lively. They seem more light. You know, there's more positivity in the air. You can't do that unless you are right at the core with yourself. You know, so you first need to be happy. You need to improve upon yourself. Figure out what it is that you want in life. You know, what do you want for your family and for yourself? How do you want to live? What about your finances? These are all questions that you need to be asking yourself. How can you find joy? How can you be more happy and playful and experience positive vibes? Because when you are at your truest form and you are feeling good and you're vibrant and your aura is on and people can feel your positivity, your household will change, trust me. Your wife will notice your positivity. She'll notice the emotions that you're putting off. She'll notice that you're one with yourself. And when you're one with yourself, then everything else just falls into place. Also understand too that the family man sets the temperament for the household. So if you're pissed off because of something that happened at work, or there's some internal issues or some external issues, and you bring that to the household, it really is going to affect the dynamic within that household. And I'm sure you probably have already seen it or witnessed it already, where your wife is probably pissed off. She can sense that you're mad, you know, and so she gets pissed off. And then the kids, you know, can sense that too. And so they drive you even more crazy. They're running around and doing stuff because they want to bring in that activity, want to bring in that positive vibe. So if your temperament is off, you need to check yourself. The house should be the one place where everyone can feel comfortable about themselves. The one place where the positive energy flows. The one place where there is no negativity. Because God knows there's so much negativity out there in the world for us to indulge in. We don't need it in the household as well. So check your temperament. Tip number 2 is to express emotion. You know, growing up in my household, we were always taught to limit our emotions and suppress them and to lead by strength, you know. And being the oldest of 3, I was the one who had set the example, you know. And so if we're not careful, that's what we're going to be teaching our children, is that it's not okay to express your emotion. It's okay to be sensitive around your kids and your spouse, and to show that level of affection that you have. You know, it's okay to cry in front of your family. You know, and it just shows them that you're a true human being, that you have feelings, that you do care, that you do show emotion. There have been thousands of times where my wife has told me that I lack showing her affection. I don't never hold her hand or tell her that I love her, or give her tickles on her back is what she likes so much. But I was just taught to never do that. And that was kind of my reaction to that, was that's just how I was raised. But then as I got further along in my journey, I realized that that's not okay, you know, and we can change that. So don't be afraid to show emotion. Don't be afraid to cry in front of your children, and to show them, especially your sons, that, you know, men can cry too, and men can show emotion just like females do, and that it's okay, and be sensitive around your family. Give them hugs, and if you feel like crying in front of a movie or two, go ahead and do that. That's totally cool too. But it's totally fine, man, to express your emotions and let your especially let your family see that. I can remember back when probably like a year ago, when the first time that my daughter seen me cry, and this was at a point where I had lost my job. This was probably like my third or fourth time losing my job, and I just got to a point where I was just fed up. I was emotionally tired. I was drained. I was mentally fatigued, and the tears just came rolling on my face, and I hugged my wife, and they really started flowing. And my daughter was scared. She was nervous. She was like, "Damn, like what's going on with Dad? Like, is everything okay? Like what's happening?" And for her to have that reaction wasn't okay with me. It didn't sit right with me, because yeah, she was concerned, and obviously she should have been, but she was like truly shocked. Like, I've never seen you cry before. I've never seen you be that vulnerable. So it must be something serious. So again, it's okay to show emotion. It just shows that you're a true human being, you're a true man, and you're in touch with your feelings, and that's cool. All right, so tip number 3 is lead by example. This is crucial, especially as a family man. You have to be able to set a positive example, not only for your children, but for your wife. Who am I to tell my children that they need to respect me, but I don't show them respect, or I don't show their mother respect? You know what I mean? I think it's super important, again, that you lead by example. I'll give you an example of, I told my kids one day to scrub the walls. And after I had told them that, I was like, you know what? I probably should be a better leader. I probably should set an example. For one, I wanted them to do it kind of the way that I wanted it done. So that was part of the reason why I charged them there and showed them and worked with them. But it was good bonding time for me, because I was able to talk to them about what is a good leader, and what makes a bad leader, and why would you follow someone, why would you follow a leader, and how can you become a leader. So really, it was just a good time for me to bond with my kids, and just to set another example. It's one thing to say something, but then it's another to do it. You know what I mean? Especially when you're talking to your kids and your wife. And if I want my son to be respectful to women, and let's say that I'm not doing that with his mother, there's no way in hell he's going to retain what I've been telling him, because they're going to be more apt to retain it from what they've seen, what they've experienced, rather than what they've been told. You know what I mean? Because it's hands-on. And so, if I want my son to be respectful to women, then I need to be showing respectful to his mother. The same way that I treat my wife is exactly how a man should treat my daughter, is what she should see in her mind, So, hitting your wife and calling her out her name and doing those things are not only hurting your relationship with your spouse, but they're hurting their relationship with your kids as well. And you need to recognize that. You need to see that, and your daughter is only going to grow up to want who you are. Typically, the daughter will grow up and they'll typically choose someone like the male figure in their household. So however you are with your wife is more than likely the guy that your daughter's going to pick up. So I hope you're setting a great example. So, but again, be a great leader, man. Do as you say. And don't be afraid to get in there and whatever task that you set forth for your kids, make sure that you're willing to do that yourself. Don't tell your kids or your wife to do something that you wouldn't. You know what I mean? So there's nothing that I would tell my kids to do that I wouldn't do myself. All right, so before I move on to the next tip, go ahead and comment below. What is the one thing as a family man that you want to be better at? All right, and the 4th tip is teach what you weren't taught. So there's a lot of things that my family didn't teach me as I was growing up, which is no fault to their own. It's just that they weren't taught those things either. And it wasn't until I got older and a little more wiser, and I was surrounding myself with different type of people, that I started picking up on these things, and wish I had known them earlier on, And one of the things that I told myself when I became a dad was that I'm going to make sure that their lives are lived 10 times better than how mine was. And mine was good. I had both my parents there. They weren't abusive at all. We always had food on the table. My parents, they provided. We always had clothes on our back, roof over our heads. I mean, there was really nothing we needed to worry about. We were considered middle class, I guess. So they did a damn good job. But again, there were some things that, I wish they would have implemented earlier on. Things would just been a little different for me. As far as finances, right? My parents had always taught me that you wanted to have good credit. But they never mentioned things like investing or stocks and bonds, or how to save money, or how to do great things with your money. And so that was one of the things that I had to learn, again, on my own. So again, as my children get older and they're able to start understanding these things, I start teaching them these things that I wasn't taught. Telling my kids that every time that I give you an allowance money, you must save 25%, 20 to 25% of the amount I gave you. And so trying to teach that to a 6-year-old is a little difficult, especially a 16-year-old as well. But like these little golden nuggets that I'm giving out to them, hopefully by telling them over and over again that they start to incorporate that. And really my whole goal with teaching them what I wasn't taught is that they learn it earlier on, so that way when they become parents, that's what they're teaching their children, plus everything that they've learned that I didn't have the time or didn't know what to teach them, when they get older. And really that just compounds on top of each other from generation to generation, so that's just super important. But teach your kids the things that you weren't taught, and the things that you're learning now on your journey to becoming a better family man, to becoming a better person. Right now through my life coaching certification, I'm teaching them things like meditation and how to bring in more positive vibes, and the things that you consume are the things of what you are, and so I'm trying to teach them that, and being kind and respectful. Those are the things that are important, not only to me, but to our household. And those are the values that we would uphold and want to pass down to our children. So again, teach them the things that you weren't, and they're going to be better people than you are, better parents than you are. And that should be the whole goal, right? Is to be better than you. So at least that's my goal. All right. And the last bonus tip for you is, man, this is a huge one, because I think I talked about this a little previously, but if you come from a home where it's, there was a lot of anger, and there was maybe some physical abuse, or there was some mental abuse, as far as the language that was spoken in your home, make that your manifest, make that your everything to change that in your household. You know what I mean? If you came from an abusive home and that's what you were used to and your siblings were used to, getting beat on, don't bring that into your household. Don't subject your children to the same pain that you faced, that you had to go through, because you know exactly how that feels. And do you want your children to feel that? No, you don't. At least you shouldn't. You know what I mean? So do everything that you can for the things that you want to change of how you grew up and what you experienced. Make sure that your children don't experience that they experience the opposite. So if it was pain and it was heartbreak, make sure that they feel joy and happiness instead. You know what I mean? I think there's a huge gap when it comes to generational wealth. There's certain things I talked about before that weren't taught to my parents, that probably weren't taught to their parents, and you get this cycle that just keeps repeating itself. And no wonder these families that are coming up, these generations that are coming up, aren't getting any better than the previous 15 generations. You know what I mean? Because the same things are being taught or being repeated over and over again. And if the new generation is learning anything, they're not teaching the next generation. You know what I mean? They're keeping those things to themselves, or they're just forgetting. So you want to break the cycle, man. Whatever your household was like, whatever the things that you weren't taught, make sure you do all you can to teach them, to change the culture in your household. And I guarantee you, once you begin to break the cycle and you begin to incorporate all of these tips that I shared with you, man, you're gonna have a different household, man. You're gonna be a different person. You're gonna be like super dad, for real. Now your kids and may not see it, and they may not say anything, which is totally fine. But your wife is going to notice, especially if you're making a drastic change from who you were to who now you're becoming. You know, your wife's going to see it, and she's going to appreciate it. You're definitely going to appreciate it, you know, because you're going to be at a different place within yourself, you know. And so I hope all these tips, man, really truly helped you guys moving towards the direction of being a better family man. If you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and please leave them below, and I'll be sure to get back with you guys. As always, if you like the content, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'll be putting out some more videos, so stay tuned. And as always, we'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot, guys.